Did I make it do the thing? It's doing
There it
the
goes.
thing. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how
We're
are
good.
you?
How are
What a
you?
pleasure meeting you. Hi, it's Grace and David, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Kim.
It's so
Hi,
nice to meet
Kim.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Happy
Thank
to
you for
meet
doing
you.
this.
Oh my goodness, it's my pleasure, truly. Thank you.
We were just saying we're so excited. This is our first episode back in a little over 3 months because Grace just had a baby.
Yeah, I
Congratulations!
Thank you. I
Was
know.
it your first, second, third,
first.
fourth? First one. Oh.
What if I was like my seventh?
I mean, again, no judgment. I'm too old to judge people's lives anymore. Like, if
Yeah.
it makes you happy, then you're doing it right.
hmm
Amen. Yeah, but no, she's my first.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations. What's her
Thank
name?
you. Riley.
Yay, Riley. Welcome to the planet.
Yeah.
Be back.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Our-
you.
A little bit about us. So our podcast is called Back to the Best. We focus on all things 90s, early 2000s, and just all the things that we loved growing up, which you were a huge part of with Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
My babies.
Yeah. So we appreciate this so much, you coming on and chatting with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've really, I did a genre show for so long that it's funny now encountering like fully fledged grown adults that don't know me from that. They know me from when I was their childhood. And so
Sure.
it's really fun being like, "Oh, that's right. You were a little person and now you're a big person." And I'm still here.
It's one of our favorite things and kind of why we do this podcast, because when we get the opportunity to speak with people like yourself, we feel like our childhood selves again. And we kind of get to relive that. And then we see even the people that listen, they'll comment and be like, "Oh my gosh." And everybody loves that feeling. It's like a very warm feeling to remember the shows you grew up with and get to speak with people that were on them. It's literally our dream.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the way that we get to connect with our audience now, because at the time it was just like you're a live studio audience or you read
Sure.
about us. And now, I mean, I just got back from a convention where people that I was mom figure, I actually got to hug and I got to look
Aw.
them in the face and I got to tell them I'm proud of them and they're turning out so beautifully and like really connect. So that's another reason that I love that you're doing this, because it facilitates me the opportunity to tell people they matter to me so deeply.
Oh, I love that.
Seriously.
Oh, we want to ask you everything about Sweet Life of Zack and
Ask
Cody.
me everything. Ask me everything.
Well,
I'll
just
try not to damage your childhood memories, but yes, ask
Oh,
me everything.
listen. It's okay. We're adults now, right?
We're
We can
adults.
handle it. We're adults. We've got it. But even just jumping back a bit, did you always want to be in the industry? Like when you were younger, was it always a dream of yours, or kind of how did you get started in the industry?
Well, hindsight is an amazing thing. The story in hindsight has so much reality. At the time, I just knew I didn't know what I wanted. But within, like, I didn't take an acting class until I was 19 years old. And then I did stage for 10 years. I just knew that it felt right. Something clicked in. I enjoyed having people clap for me. I enjoyed having people shut up because it was my turn to talk. I enjoyed being lauded for having big feelings. What I now know is that I was an undiagnosed autistic child who needed a sense. I needed to script. I needed a sense of what comes next. Like there's nothing better for the way I process as an autistic person than knowing I get to have big feelings and how the other person's going to respond to them.
Sure.
But I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. At the time, I just thought, hey, I found this thing that I seem to be pretty good at. And it's okay if I'm awkward and make things weird because that's expected of me as an artist. Yay. And so
Yeah.
I just stepped into it. But it wasn't really, I've been called as a child. It was more, I found something where I don't have to wear clothes that are too tight.
It clicked,
Yeah.
which I kind of love that, because we ask people that question because everybody seems to have a different answer. Like some people are like, "Oh, I was watching a movie when I was 3 and I remember I wanted to be in the television," but then everyone's kind of journey is different and their story is
Yeah.
different. Yeah, and it's such a creative outlet. So like creative people, I feel like all have different reasons why they might want to get started in something, and
Yep.
it's not an easy industry to get into. So we
No.
love to hear kind of what drove people and what inspired them.
Yeah. It was less focused on a goal and more focused on the experience and the step that's in front of me. And
Mhm.
I just keep taking the step that's in front of me, and at some point I'll be like one of the things about this industry is nobody gives you a pink slip. Nobody tells you
Yeah.
when you're done.
Mhm.
So I'm looking around now where I'm a little like, oh oh I may need to I am not dead yet, but apparently I need to find something else to do. Okay. Meh. But it's always been like that, where I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna be on this show for 10 years. All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Here we
nobody
go.
tells you what to expect. Yeah.
Mhm.
When did you decide to make the move then to Los Angeles?
Well, I went from Oregon. So I went to college. I got a BFA in Southern Oregon. And then I went to Philadelphia to get an MFA. And then I moved up to New York with a very brief hiatus in Spring Green, Wisconsin. So then I moved up to New York, and it was in 99. I was on a soap opera that was canceled. And I thought, if I'm gonna try to, because I couldn't sing and dance, and New York especially at that time, very Broadway oriented.
Uh-huh.
And
Mhm.
I was not Broadway caliber. So I said, I am going to move to LA while I'm still young enough to possibly have something happen. So that's why I moved to LA. And I had a few brutal years. And so I went away and did Shakespeare in Southern Oregon for a
Okay.
season. And then I went back and I auditioned for some pilots, but I was pretty sure I was just gonna like pack it in LA and just move to Southern Oregon and do Shakespeare for the rest of my life. And that's when I booked Sweet Life. But I was so ambivalent about Sweet Life. I was so like, I've got plans
Yeah.
that are not this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, nah. And that seemed to be very attractive to them. They were like, "You don't want us? Come back.
Well, now
How
we
do
want
get
you
you to
even more."
stay?" Yeah.
Did you have any like interest in Disney Channel? Like, was there anything, or was it just an
No.
audition? It was just an
I
audition.
didn't have okay. Truth be told, we shot the entire pilot and I thought it took place in Vegas because I
Okay.
couldn't understand why a lounge singer would be given a suite at a hotel
Mhm.
in a city that
In Boston.
clearly has a lot
Yeah.
of other lounge singers that live there. Like
Mhm.
I didn't have a kid. I was a cartoon, like I liked the Warner Brothers cartoons, so I wasn't even aware of the children's programming.
Sure.
I knew nothing. I just showed up and was kind of like, I'm doing my thing. Okay.
I feel like that worked because like at the time you were like the coolest mom on the Disney
Mhm.
Channel.
Oh, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
thank you. It was none of my doing. It was just me being my weird little self. People were asking, "How did you what about that haircut?" I'm like, "That's because I cut my own hair and they couldn't stop
Did
me
you?
from cutting my own hair." I still do. That's why like I wanted the back to be shorter than the front. And well,
Uh-huh.
the back is much shorter than the front. I'm very impulsive. And so that hairstyle was like a happy medium. So they didn't have to keep changing my hairstyle, but I could keep
Uh-huh.
cutting it when I wanted to.
Wow, I feel like it really fit though. Like I would have thought that
I
was
mean,
a
It fit the
character, like a
character
choice
great.
for them. Yeah.
It was fun until Guy Fieri came along, and then I got all the memes of then and
Oh,
now, and they'd be
no.
like, Brenda Song on Sweet Life, Brenda Song now, Ashley Tisdale on Sweet Life, Ashley Tisdale now, Kim Rhodes on Sweet Life, and then it would be a picture of Guy Fieri. And I'm like, it was funny the first 82 times I saw
Sure.
it, but now I'm tired of that.
You're-
83,
yeah.
no, absolutely not.
We draw the line at 83. It's too many.
Yes. Too many.
Oh my gosh. Well, I haven't seen those, if that helps.
Well, they're like 10 years old. That was back
Okay.
when I first got
Okay.
on social media,
Okay.
and people thought it's fun. You know what's funny? Let's make fun of people. Fine, I guess.
Having done then like live theater, do you feel like that helped you a lot then filming in front of a studio audience for Sweet Life?
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Especially for a comedy, because there's a rhythm that you get into when it's just you and another actor with a comedy. But when you add people laughing at it,
Sure.
you need to know when to hold for that laughter so it becomes a third member of the scene,
Oh.
and use that as part of the storytelling, as opposed to moving, oh, I've got to stop and get, like it can either be a part of the rhythm or it can interrupt the rhythm. And already walking into it where I knew how to make it a part of the rhythm, and
Mhm.
sometimes even use it, because there's this, oh man, it's a high when you get a laugh and it peaks and it starts to go away, but you know, if you just ride it, Brian Stepanek was good at this. You can,
Mhm.
Arwen always would have these. It would peak and it would start to go away, but if you just tweaked for a second, you'd come up again and again, and then people would start like that giddy sort of, I'm laughing at other people laughing and I don't even know why I'm laughing, and I get, it's just, oh, it's glorious. So yeah, that was something that I definitely had in my corner when I stepped onto that show.
Did you guys the answer is probably yes, because David and I, like, we used to work at Warner Brothers, so we've seen kind of how the audience works, and we've heard how one of the best parts about filming in front of an audience is you get an instant reaction, maybe for the writers as well. Did this work or did this not? Did you guys have a
Yeah.
lot of moments where you would go through the scene and maybe the audience didn't love it, so there were rewrites, like, on the spot at the time, or did they kind of stick to the script that they already had?
They would rewrite through the course of the week, because we
Mhm.
would get it on Monday and we'd do a table read, and that's really when the dramatic, like, whoa, that worked in my head, not so much. So the
Yeah.
rewrites on the fly in front of the audience, very minimal. I think
Okay.
also
Okay.
because it was a kids show.
Yeah.
And so to rewrite, especially Disney Channel, you had to go up a major chain of command to get an
Mm.
approval to have it back,
Oh.
because it was a corporation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there were other shows that I'd worked on that were adult shows where it was much looser. They're like, hey, let's try this, or hey, this might be funnier, and it was much more experimental. But Disney
Mhm.
Channel's not known
Okay.
for their experimental freedoms that they
Uh-huh.
gave the people who worked for them.
That makes sense. That's why I was wondering. I was like, did you guys get to do that? Or was it more like, this is the script, put it on the
Yeah,
stage?
Stick to
it
it.
needed to be approved by a lot of different stamps.
Got it.
So by Friday, we didn't do a lot of. And that's the same reason. Also, there wasn't a lot of extemporaneous improv,
Mhm.
because all it takes is one letter and we're in trouble.
That's it.
So yeah, we used to joke about that. We're like, oh, you can't do that. We'll get a letter. Not like even you'll get letters. It was one letter, and
That's
we
all
were
you
in
needed?
trouble. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Gosh. Yeah,
Yep.
then
Karen
not
from
worth it.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Leave the script alone, not worth it. We don't need a letter.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Disney executives, we saw online that you were threatened with a swear jar on set. Is that true?
It was not an executive.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
the story, yes, it was definitely not an executive. It was a very well-meaning person who took their job very, possibly a little too seriously.
Mhm.
And yes, they instituted a swear jar that they would keep and tried unsuccessful. Only it was just for me. I'm like,
Just a Kim
I'm
swear jar.
sorry, the Teamsters aren't also cussing,
Yeah.
but no, it's just for Kim. And it was one of my earliest experiences with Dylan and Cole when I was like, oh, we're gonna be good.
Mhm.
Where I said something and this individual held up the swear jar and shook their finger at me. And I'm crumbling inside. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just assume anybody who isn't me has the power to tell me what I should be doing.
Mhm.
And Cole goes, we've worked with Adam Sandler. And Dylan goes, yeah, we've heard them all already. I think she's fine. And I was like,
You're like, okay,
Okay, you guys are cool.
this could work.
Those little fuckers said I could swear.
Oh my, and like how old were they, do you think, at the time that they said
This was
that?
the first season. This was like the
Oh,
They were
third
so
early.
episode.
young.
Yes, because this individual did not remain on our set.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
The person with the swear jar. So that person did not stay very long. There were all sorts of reasons that it was not a good fit. But yeah, they were still like maybe 12 when they said this. They were like, and
They were
they,
Okay.
yeah, no, they defended me all the way through. I got pregnant when I was on the show. And of course the show dealt with it by making fat jokes. And one of my favorite memories is Dylan had a line that was a fat joke, and he just kept skipping over it. It was like in the middle of a chunk of dialogue. So he kept skipping this laugh line and skipping it and skipping it and skipping it. And finally we get to in front of the studio audience and he skips it. And the executive producer screams, it's like, cut. And it's the director's job to cut, by the way. So he goes, cut, Dylan, say the line. And he goes, I would not disrespect any woman that way, let alone this woman. You write something funny and I'll say it.
Good for him. Oh my God.
That's my little man. They're both
That's-
my little men. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
they
that.
both were very protective of everyone on set. It wasn't just me. They understood that like early on, Phil was like, look, you are the only two people on the set that are not expendable. So you take the bullet every time. And they took that so seriously. They would, I mean, it would be so easy for a 12-year-old to be like, the prop didn't work. It's their fault. And they always were like, no, I didn't say, I'm sorry. I'll work with Jeff on it. I'll do this. No, I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Wow.
And so the fact that they at such a young age understood that it was their job to make sure everybody else was able to do their job was really impressive.
Yeah, that's like a
Wow.
whole level of maturity you can't teach kids.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
And they were exceptional about that.
Well, I love hearing that. And, because we've heard the phrase like, the number one person on the call sheet or like the top person
Yeah.
and how they kind of maybe do carry some of that weight because they can set the tone very easily for everybody else. And it sounds like they understood that and was also like, we're not just going to be the little kids that just stand by and let it happen. They took it seriously, which is amazing.
Well, and I think because Phil and I, and then Beth, who was the assistant director, and Rich, who was our frequent director, also took them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It was also important that they were told that they had power. Like so
Sure.
often, young actors are told you don't have power. You do what we tell you to do. You comply, you conform, you say yes. And so then when kids mess around and they're told, why are you doing this? You're doing it. They're like, but people told me I didn't have any power. If I don't have any power, then how do I have the power to mess things up? Whereas on this set, it was understood that all four of our guest cast had the power of equals. At least that was my intention. I'm sure there were times when I probably subconsciously contributed to them not feeling like an equal. And I would like to, if that were the case, make amends for that because I didn't know any better. But I know that it was something Phil and I felt and Beth and Rich felt that we needed them to feel safe. We wanted them to feel held. We didn't want them to feel the fear of adulthood, but also to be like, no, you are powerful entities creating in your own right. Let's do this together. You're partners. It's a collaboration.
Collaborate. Yep. Yeah. Collaborative. That's awesome.
Well, and especially I feel like you hear stories of, child actors growing up and, the pressures that they were under. And you always hear, the stories of people who, party all the time. And I feel like nobody from that cast, at least publicly, had any issues. And I feel like that has to come from the fact that how everyone on set treated them.
Well, there's this saying that is not mine, but I'm going to say it, where it's very difficult to have 100% of the responsibility and 0% of the power,
Hmm.
right? And so often kids are not given any power because adults are scared that the kids might not make the choice they want them to. So
Mhm.
kids are manipulated. They are coerced. They are only given half the truth because I need to give you the impact, because the adult is attached to the child's conformity, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that happens in any workplace. The people making the money are attached to the conformity of the people making them the money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But within that, we individually had the capacity to be like, I see you. I see you. I see you. I got you. We got, we, the emotional side of it. I can't do anything about who's taking your residuals, but I
Mhm.
can do everything about the fact that I see you for who you are and I love you for who you are. And this cast specifically was able to do that, in spite of clunks and bumps and learning, you know,
Yeah.
lessons are painful. And so we learned with each other, but I think there was incredible levels of love.
That makes us so happy to hear.
Yeah, I know.
It's nice to be able to say, let me tell you.
Sure, I
Mhm.
bet.
And I think it came across on screen too,
Oh,
because
definitely.
everyone's chemistry was infectious. Like it was that's why the show did so well. People can tell by watching something, like that's what makes it successful or not. And it seemed like the flow of the show and everybody's relationships to each other were just perfect.
It was, and it was also more important. Like one of the things, this is another Dylan story. So I'm taller than them, right? And Cole would do it too. So the way it's set up is there's 3 cameras, right? So if the boys and I are having a conversation, one camera's on me, and then the other camera's on them, and then the middle's on both of us. But the lights are back here, and I'm
Mhm.
taller. So my job is to make sure that I'm not standing in their light. I don't
Okay.
shade them. So we would have dances because the boys would deliberately step into the shade
Uh-huh.
because they didn't want the light in their eyes. And then I would lean to the side so that they were lit. And
Uh-huh.
then they would then step and we would just like gradually move our way out of camera. And I would always get blamed. Like,
Always.
Cam, you lost your spot. I'm like, and they would both be like,
You're like, they keep
like
moving, so then I have to move.
that was more important. Like the silly, lovely dance was
Mhm.
more important than we're making a TV show.
Mhm.
It was just, how can we lived to make Beth Carell, our assistant director, we lived to make her laugh. Like
Yeah.
that was our goal. We didn't care if we got the whole audience. We didn't care if we got the executives. If we got Beth to laugh, we won.
What a success.
Aim it at Beth.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have like a favorite episode looking back on it, one that always stands out in your mind?
Yes, and it's a very sad reason why. So just prepare your trigger warning. I'm gonna cry. So there is an episode called Birdman of Boston where Cody finds a hawk, and it's he raises this hawk and he wants to give the hawk to the sanctuary, but he ends up letting the hawk fly free. And there's a whole conversation about what it is to be a mother and how you hope that by the time you're no longer there, your being can exist on its own. That episode was written by Jim Gagan, one of the 2 executive producers, as a gift to me after my mother died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He wrote that because he wasn't a touchy-feely guy, but
Mhm.
I was a wreck. My mom was my person.
Oh.
And they all were with me when she made it to the set. They all got to meet her.
Oh.
And then I left, and I was with her when she died. She died up in Oregon. But that was Jim's gift to me, as a tribute to my mom.
Oh my
was a
gosh.
beautiful story of motherhood. And
Mhm.
so that's the one that just sacred to me.
Oh,
Mhm.
of course.
Well, we're so sorry about your mom. Thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sharing
Oh,
that,
thank
though.
you. It was a very long time ago. These things happen. But
Mhm.
and it also was a beautiful thing to see like these kids support me. I mean, show up as themselves and be present and love me through some really painful experiences. And they
Mhm.
did. It was awesome. So
Oh
I'm
my
grateful I was
gosh.
where I was when it happened.
Mhm. Right. Sounds like it was kind of meant to be. If it, because these
Yeah.
things do happen, like you said, but at least you had everybody there and this special episode that you'll always
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Oh.
Yeah.
also just goes to show how close and great this cast and crew was.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. It was pretty magical.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, and then I also love Supernatural.
Hey, thank you.
So
I know they gave mom a gun and this is what happened. Yeah.
yeah, you just moved over to two new boys over on Supernatural.
I mean, it's my look. I say stick with what you know, and what I
Mhm.
know is working with good-looking blonde brothers. I mean, everybody's got to have a niche, and this is mine.
There you
Mhm.
go.
Mhm. Mhm.
Whenever you started in Supernatural, then obviously your character then pops up in every season after season 5. Did you
Yeah.
know that you would be recurring, or whenever you started, was
No.
it just like a 1 or 2 episode thing?
I was there for probably 6 years before I believed them when they told me they'd warn me if I was dying. They'd
Oh
be
my
like, "Hey, is
gosh.
Kim available?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let me see the script."
Yeah. Let me just
Am I
check on
dying?
this.
I don't know. In fact, there was an episode where Crowley and Jody go on a date, and they never say if the boys got to her in time. And it was the end of the season, and in the script it didn't say if I lived or died, and I was convinced I was dead
That was it.
because everybody else was gone. Nobody could tell me. If I was like, I guess this is my last episode. They're like, it's not your last episode. You didn't die.
Like, enough, Kim. You're still here.
Yes.
And that
Always
filmed
no.
worried if you're
so
gonna
that
die.
filmed in Vancouver, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What I mean, obviously that has to be such a huge different experience from filming like on the Disney Channel.
Well, it's what the biggest difference was just the style going from a multicam where you
Mhm.
get the luxury of rehearsing and finding your timing and finding routines and experimenting it to a single camera where they're like, look, the sun goes down in 18 seconds.
Uh-huh.
So get this in. Like you
Yeah.
need to, you're out in the middle of you're
No
out in
pressure.
the rain and you're in the woods and it's a different kind of extreme fun.
hmm
Mhm.
But that was the biggest difference was just getting used to single camera where I was like, oh, but I just had an idea. No ideas for
Sorry.
you. We've already shot the master. But
Oh,
I know
yeah.
how to. Nope. No more experimenting. You do it that same way for the next 2 days.
Oh my God. Yeah, wait, that's so true.
Yeah, there's no experimenting in single camera. Once it's on, that's it. That's your take. That's it. That's how you do it.
So, okay. So you say that you shoot the master, so you do like the
Yeah.
scene as a whole first, and then like all the different angles, like the different close-ups and stuff like that after?
It all depends on the situation.
Okay.
Sometimes it's easiest to shoot somebody's coverage first. Sometimes it's easy. Like it all depends on what's the most convenient for cameras.
Got
But that also means you shoot it way out of sequence. And Sweet Life, you got to shoot like a play. So you knew
Sure.
what came, you know what your run up is, you know whereas my very first scene on Supernatural was everyone I know and love burning on a funeral pyre.
Oh,
Let it go. Welcome to the show.
what a
Oh
warm
my
welcome.
gosh.
Hey,
nice.
This should be easy.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
When I hear those things, I give you guys so much credit because it's like, how do you just turn that on when you have nothing, you've no like moment before? You're just like,
No.
because they're not in order. So
Yeah.
you just like came out of, I don't know, the hair and makeup trailer, and now you're like
Yep.
dumped into this crazy situation without
Yeah.
any lead up.
Yep. You just have to really imagine hard. I play pretend very hard.
Yeah. How was it going into a show then that had already been running for 5 seasons versus, starting a show at season 1?
It was, because I didn't know I was going to be back. That's what I
sure.
was mostly used to. I'd only been on 2 series regulars. I was a series regular on a soap opera and then The Sweet Life. Everything else was 1 week here, 1 week here, 1 week here, 1 week here. Like hop, 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 hop. That's how I made most of my money. So I was very used to that. I was very used to come in, head down, know your lines, do your job, book it out. At best, somebody will be like, hey, you were great. We should have you back sometime. And you go, that's such a sweet thought. And then
Yeah.
it never happens, but you appreciate I've never actually been on something where somebody then a year later was like, we're going to have you come back. Like, is it right? This is Kim Rhodes. Did you mean to call
Did
me?
you have the right Kim?
Is that the right thing? Okay. Sure.
I'll be
Cool.
there.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Have
feel
you-
like the Supernatural fans are very dedicated. Like, do you still do appearances at all the different Supernatural
Yes.
conventions?
Yes. In fact, I will be in San Francisco with the creation. They have full Supernatural conventions still.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Well, because over COVID, a whole new generation discovered it on Netflix.
Sure.
Mhm.
So they are, and again, it's another thing, the same thing as Sweet Life. It starts from the top down. So when the top is committed to their product and their audience, you create an environment where some magic can happen.
And do you still keep in contact with like any cast members from either show?
Oh, we have the text thread. Sam Smith, who plays Mary, is texted me twice while we were talking.
Aw.
Like,
Tell her we love her.
So yeah, the Supernatural, because we see each other at these conventions, we have group threads. We see each other very frequently. Again, because of the conventions. The kids I don't see because they were kids when I worked with them. And so I often tell people when they're like, oh, you don't keep in contact. I'm like, think about your favorite teacher in middle school. Think about your favorite teacher. Now, as much as you love them, probably not still in contact with them.
Still not texting all the
So
time.
that's where, so I follow them on social media. I see what they're doing. My heart swells. If I ever saw any of them, I would clutch them to me and sob with love and pride. And I mean, any of them. But I don't have their numbers.
Yeah.
I don't send them.
Yeah.
I don't send them memes.
Yeah. Did you watch any of Riverdale at all?
I saw bits of it because it was a CW show, and I petitioned to play Jughead's mother when it turned out Jughead's mother was going to show up. They weren't even interested.
Oh no.
They didn't even think it was worth it to let me read for it. And I was
Rude.
like, really?
That was a mistake. You would have killed it.
Come on. I wouldn't have been like, this is also apples and oranges. I wouldn't have, like, God bless and well done. This is not me saying, oh, I would have done it better. She fucking killed it. But I still think they could have at least entertained the option.
Yeah, that's super rude.
I know. Whatever. What can you do?
Now I'm just picturing it. It would have worked so well because David and I both watch Riverdale.
Well, we joked about if there could have been a crossover episode where Jody and Jughead, and I said it would have been awesome where they would nothing. The only thing there would have been an acknowledgement is them walking past each other and both going, no. And that would have been it.
It would have been so good. And
It
like,
would have been hilarious.
so
Just
good.
like the audience would have been like, it's the moment. And they just would have been, and then keep right on and that's it.
It would have been the best little crossover.
Yeah.
I know.
Ah,
the show's
well.
over and I'm still crushed.
I
hearing
know.
This. Like, can't we make it happen?
Yeah. But
There'll be
yes.
another crossover later.
Yeah.
Are you currently working on anything or any projects coming up?
I love you for asking that. I volunteered in an animal rescue, so I'm currently working on not being killed by a small angry chicken. I'm currently working on making sure that there's an amount of goat poop that gets swept up in a timely manner. I'm working on finding kittens' homes.
Aw.
I did write a children's book.
Oh, nice.
It is in the final stages of being illustrated and will be sold through the merch company that I work with, which is Stands.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Stands.
Yeah.
Probably early next year, maybe in time for Christmas, but probably early next year.
Okay.
Oh, you'll have to let us
But
know.
no,
'Cause
I don't, like I said, there's no pink slip in this industry. It's just
Mhm.
gradually you look around and no one wants to hire you.
Mhm.
Like, but oh, I'm done. Okay. I mean, who knows? There might be
Mhm.
I might come out of retirement at some point. But
Sure.
Yeah.
right now, there's nobody knows no, there's nothing going on. I got to do Kung Fu. I did a few episodes of Kung Fu on
Oh,
CW
nice.
because Robert Behrens, who is the executive producer, brought me in for that. And
Oh,
God
cool.
bless him for getting me health insurance.
Oh,
So that was, yeah, but I think that may have been my swan song. I don't know.
yeah.
We'll find
Mhm.
out. Certainly nothing on the horizon.
Have you
Well, it
always
sounds
been a huge animal person?
Yes.
Yeah. I love your
Animals,
Instagrams with like the goats and all your Instagram
they
posts.
babies. Somebody caught me today. I sing to all of them and I
Oh.
talk to all of them because I don't have to figure out how they're responding. Again, autistic brain, happy
Mhm.
place, because I don't have to figure animals out. I don't have to be
Mhm.
like, what did you mean by that, chicken? I
Yeah.
know exactly what he meant by that. He meant die. Right. So I sing to them and they don't mind. I cuddle
Oh.
them. I love I've got one goat that I would give a kidney to if he asked, even if he just wanted to eat it.
Mm.
And one of my pigs, it comes and like runs to me, which is and he runs squealing, which is adorable.
That's so cute.
Oh.
Um, so yeah, I have always been an animal person.
Mhm.
My first paid job was working in a vet's office.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
I am my friend Brianna, who plays Sheriff Donna,
Uh-huh.
uh, laughs at me. She's like, you cannot be in a conversation with Kim if a dog goes around. You just need to remember where you were
Mhm.
and try to pick
Mhm.
up later.
That's
Because if
it.
there's a dog,
She's out.
you could be explaining how to disarm a bomb, and Kim will still go pay attention to the dog.
I kind of feel that.
Yeah, we all have our
Yeah.
priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're exactly where you should be.
Yeah.
I keep trying to tell myself there's still a great deal of fear. And there's still, every time I think I've wrestled my ego into submission, bitch comes back with more ideas. So it's very, like, on the one hand, I don't think I've ever been happier. And on the other hand, there's still that voice of ego going, yeah, but nobody wants you.
Mhm.
And so what a great place to be in life where I can look at that and go, hi,
Mhm.
untrue.
Mhm.
That's not true. And like I said, I go to these conventions and there are people who weep because I can see them and hug them and tell
Aw.
them I'm grateful that they took the time to come say hi.
Ugh.
So that ego of nobody wants you is lying. It's
Yeah.
just ascribing to societal norms that don't apply to me anyway. So shut up and walk away. But
Yeah.
it's still the
Mhm.
voice is still there. But I thank you for pointing out that I am exactly where I'm supposed to be because I
Yeah.
do generally believe that.
And listen, you can just take it one day at a time. You never know. There's no ruling
100%.
anything out. That you're where
No.
you are right now, but who knows what could happen?
Yeah. And you know what I found, and this is my moment of TED Talk for your listeners,
Mhm.
is if I let myself be happy today, it will always be today. And eventually I would have been happy all my life.
Oh my
I
God,
love
I love
that.
that.
So
I love that.
I just have to make sure that I don't let tomorrow define whether or not today made me happy.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Oh,
we need to type that up, make it a post.
seriously. We're
We're already
cropping just
going
that
to.
clip out.
Yeah, it's gonna be our merch.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
Just
Yeah.
Kim's quote.
Kim's soapbox.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. It's absolutely my pleasure. This really was delightful.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you
Thank
so
you
much
so
again.
much.
So
Thank
nice
you.
to
Have a
meet you.
lovely, good to meet you, and have a good rest of your day. And good, have fun with baby.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.